Hits by the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Colors, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we are going to talk about Tony Montana, Scarface, right? Hey, listen, throughout anything, the world, you see t-shirts still made, jackets, pants, shoes. A very marketable film, a cult film that really took off. Shout out to Brian De Palma, the director, and Al Pacino, of course, and everybody involved in that film. A great piece of work. Let's be honest about it, right? A great film, right? But in my point of view, guys, there's no misunderstanding in that film, right, that we all tend to overlook, myself included. I'm guilty of that. You're right. I'm not gonna get into it. Oh no, or trying to change things from what it really is. Just like people are trying to say things about Willy Wonka and Grease and Menace to Society, that they were dead, or that was the person's alter ego or whatever. That's none of the above, right? Those movies that I just mentioned, there's speculation and things online of trying to change the narrative of them. All of them are false. Let's get that out of the way, right? But anyhow, back to the Scarface thing, right? He, the world is yours, Tony, right? So, throughout everything, even especially in the rap world, in the world of rap, gangster rap for that matter, lines from the movie are said within the raps. Little skits from the film are used in the albums. Guilty. Okay, I get it. Anyhow, guys, with that, guys, I just tend to want to say that if you look at the film for what it is, right? And as they say, or we used to say, game recognized game. Let's just get into this. So, Tony Montana is a refugee from Cuba, and he's becomes he comes to the United States and so on and so forth. He does a hit for a kingpin, if you will, from Miami. And works his way up the ladder, right? Okay, and we look at him as a hero. Oh, he's a hustler and he's a gangster and whatever else, right? I beg to differ. There's certain things you don't do, and you could call it a hustler, but no, that's not what it is, in my opinion, anyways, guys. Bear with me. So you have this character of Tony Montana, right? Again, he came from Cuba, and he worked his way up the ranks, right? He pulled a hit, so he gets in with the big boys, right? From the very beginning, right, when he meets his boss, the kingpin, the shot caller, Frank, whatever you want to call him, right? He sees Elvira coming down the little elevator or whatnot, and his eyes just spark up, right? That right there already, he's off to a bad start. Now, spoiler, guys, if you guys haven't seen the film. Sorry, we're going to go there. So everything's good. He's working for Frank. He's doing all this stuff. Frank, the part, I guess the part that we missed, or that they don't really explain very well in the film, is that he goes out of his way to go pick her up, or Frank sends Tony to go pick up his wife. Or I don't know if Tony intervened, whatever. I may be lost. I may be wrong on that, guys. But anyway, he goes in that Cadillac, the cream puff, right? That's a cream puff. It looks like somebody's nightmare. Anyhow, shout out Video Bob. I sent the video, or he has a car like that. If I had the money for it, I'd buy it. But anyhow, so the deal is, guys, that he goes and he's trying to impress Elvira, Frank's lady, his boss's lady, the shot caller lady, whatever you want to call it. And he's just doing all this stuff, right? What happens is, when he goes to Colombia to meet with Sosa to make a deal, he starts stepping over Frank's head, right? At that point, he starts stepping over Frank's head. And he has the other guy, I forget, Murray F. Abraham, I forgot the character's name in the film, but he gets killed, saying he was an informant. So anyhow, when Tony goes back to Frank is obviously upset because Tony went over his head, right? And he says, that's my friend. You had him, you actually believe that story, that he was an informant or whatever, right? And Tony starts to kind of, I'm kind of running the show. I felt it was better this way. He starts to grow a pair, feel like hey, I could do this and I don't need you, kind of deal, Rewind a little bit. When he tells his best friend, Manolo, when they first get to to Miami and they're out on the beach or whatever, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the woman. That's the key to that story, right? However, anyways, back to where we're at. So Frank doesn't like that, obviously, right? He's really upset about it because he doesn't know how he didn't make the deal the way he was supposed to. So anyhow, move on where Tony's at the club, and obviously, he's set up. The Diaz brothers shoot at him. Tony gets away. He doesn't get away unscathed. He's obviously injured. Takes off in his Porsche, whatnot, He sets up Frank and says, hey, you call him at 3 o'clock, hey, call him and say this, And Tony does that. Rightfully so, right? He's in the right at that part, right? However, in the gangster world, if you really think about it, Tony was no good. Frank had every right to want to get rid of him because he was bringing, a problem to the business, if you will. So Tony Montana is not a hero. He's not a gangster, a hustler, a solid dude. He's a piece of work. So Frank had the right to want to get rid of him, or place an order, a hit on him, or whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, for the sake of the film, of course, he got away with it, right? For the time being. Okay, so Tony uses that as an excuse to figures out, he weaves his way into it, finds out about the crooked cops and all this other stuff, right? Ends up getting rid of Frank. So now he's got the money and the power. What's the next thing he does? In the middle of that film, that's, those of you who are old enough to remember, that's where the intermission came in, when he goes and wakes up Elvira and he sees the blimp that says the world is yours. From that point, we're in the middle of the film. all the money's coming in. He's, solid with Sosa. They're both making money. Everything is great. But again, if you pay attention to the film, the number one rule was don't get high off your own supply, right? And if you pay attention to Frank's body language and his look and what he says, he looks at Elvira, he goes, of course, not everybody plays by the rules or something like that. He's already mentioning she's hooked. Tony ignores that. But anyhow, so it goes into that. Eventually, we already know how it ends, right? It goes bad for him. I'm not going to get into the details. Everybody knows already. And if you haven't, go watch it. I mean, if it's not your cup of tea, if it's too much, violence, then by all means, I respect that too, guys. So anyhow, I just wanted to bring that across, guys, that Tony Montana is not a hero for that matter, or shouldn't be looked at as like, oh my God, he's the epitome of what a hustler, what a gangster is, whatever. No, he was not a solid dude. If you think about it, of course, there'll probably be people in the comments disagreeing or whatnot, but in my opinion, that's what it is. He wasn't a solid guy, and in the real world, he would have gotten taken out before he reached anything, for that matter. As soon as it would have been a catch-22, for that matter. But for the sake of the film, it's a great film, great piece of work. I just think that we kind of misunderstood and hey, we rooted for the bad guy, right? But in real life, a lot of the gangster stuff doesn't fly that way. People don't do that. They don't do that. They won't go for that. But for the sake of the film, I guess we did, and I'm guilty of it as well. Do I still enjoy the film? Of course I do. Of course I do. But that's just me. But anyhow, guys, that's it. That's all I wanted to get across, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this one, guys. I don't mean to turn the film around or be anti-Scarface film. I saw it at a very young age. Excuse me. I went in with my cousin, who was obviously older. That's the only way I could get in at the time, because you had to have somebody older, to get in. But I probably shouldn't have been watching that at that age. But hey, I wanted to see it. Right? So anyhow, that's it, guys. That's really it. Tony Montana, I'm sorry, guys. He wasn't the epitome of a gangster, guys. He was actually not good. But with that, guys, again, it's just a film. Enjoy it for what it is, guys. All right, guys. This is Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Fred Segura, signing out, man.